Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's topic I want to go over how to run under a 240 marathon. And today's topic, basically, the reason why I wanted to cover this particular topic is because of a comment that I received from a gentleman by the name of Rudy Reyes. He purchased one of my sub 240 marathon programs, and he had mentioned, he said, last week I purchased the sub 240 marathon training program. It's very different compared to the programs I'm used to that I followed in other marathons. I'm excited and nervous. Last year was my first marathon since 2012. You ran a 3:38. Fantastic job considering that amount of time away from the sport, Rudy. Fantastic job. 3:38 is no joke, so kudos to you for that. He's got a personal best of 2:42.48. So my goal was 2:42 to 2:50. Now it's time again to challenge myself. Some tough workouts in this plan, but like you said, it takes time and I will adapt. Thanks for your knowledge, and I will keep you posted on my progress. No doubt about it, anytime you're going after a faster marathon, especially if it's significantly faster, several minutes faster than your current personal best, you are going to have to get out of your comfort zone, especially for a time this fast. I've always said this in other videos. The faster you're trying to run the marathon distance, the more that's going to be required out of you. And the athletes that are trying to break 4 hours or 5 hours for the marathon are going to have to work equally as hard as somebody that's trying to run a sub 240. We all have different backgrounds and different capabilities, but to hold a sub 240 marathon, you need to sustain 6:06 mile pace for 26.2 miles, or 3 minutes and 47 seconds per kilometer for 42.2 straight kilometers. So we all have the ability to work hard. We all know how to work hard at whatever we do. And in terms of marathoning, much is required. It takes a lot of time. I've always believed that training for a marathon 16 to 20 weeks is optimal. Can you run a sub 240 marathon in 8 to 12 weeks? It's still possible, but the faster you're trying to run this particular distance, the long-term mindset you're going to have in order to really produce this particular time. Running a marathon in 2 hours, 39 minutes and 59 seconds is going to take somebody that has a great deal of work ethic. If you are lacking talent, you have to make up for it with your work ethic. There's no easy way out in regards to trying to break a 240 marathon. I've always talked about the importance of faster, longer, not only running longer, but running at varied paces, at paces that are below goal marathon race pace. So in this case, much faster than 6:06 mile pace, running several miles at around 10 to 15 seconds slower than goal marathon race pace, and then spending a couple miles in that 18 to 24 miler running much faster, like closer down toward under 6-minute mile pace, dropping like a 5:45 mile right in the middle of that long run. When I talk about varied pace, I'm talking about varied paces. You're getting accustomed to running at VO2 max effort, anaerobic threshold level, and then running relaxed during that long run as well. You also have to focus on periodization, okay? I always talk about 16-week training plans, even in my running courses and the running courses that I teach for athletes that are trying to break 2:30, 3 hours for the marathon, 4 hours for the marathon, and 5 hours for the marathon, all end with a 16-week block of training. And the reason why is because it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for your body to adapt to any stress load that you're placing on it. So trying to train for a marathon in a matter of 8 weeks or even 12 weeks is not optimal. Of course, there are athletes out there that do have a high level of genetic capability that, of course, they still can plan well and really still perform at high levels for the marathon, even in a matter of 8 to 12 weeks. Even athletes that don't have a great deal of genetic talent, but have the willingness and to get out the door and put in the consistent work and taper down correctly, can still run a fast marathon. But again, we're talking about a sub 240 marathon here. This, in my opinion, this is an elite time. Any time really under 3 hours, you really have to be in phenomenal anaerobic shape, aerobic shape, as well as be very mentally tough to run under 3 hours. But to break 2 hours and 40 minutes, there are so few athletes that do this per year. It really takes a different strategy, okay? So what I'm talking about, one of the biggest recommendations I can help you all out with if you're trying to run this fast is make sure you are paying attention to recovery. Because the training plans that I teach, the running courses that I teach, the training plans that I have on RunDreamAchieve.com have a higher percentage of anaerobic training per week. Okay, the best middle to long distance runners are running around 40% of their weekly volume at or below goal race pace. So the best middle to long distance runners from Kenya, Europe, Japan, and here in the United States of America and other parts of the world, they're simply spending a higher percentage of that weekly volume training at a much higher anaerobic effort. So of course they're improving their body's lactate tolerance. They're able to sustain pace longer than the average Joe or Jane. Okay, again, what you have to do if you're not getting the result that you want in the marathon, whether you're trying to break a 240 like Rudy is, or you're trying to run under 430, you have to get that goal race pace to feel more like a moderate run, like a tempo run, rather than like like you're sprinting. Okay, it takes time and patience. You're going to have to spend. It may take you a few iterations of going through a 16-week block of training in order to eventually get to the point where you can run that goal race time you're aiming for. For me personally, I wanted to break 2 hours and 22 minutes. It took me from running from 2002 to 2007 to go from 2:43.36 in my debut marathon to 2:19.35 at the 2007 California International Marathon. I ended up placing 4th place and as the top American in that race. It was not an easy task. The way I did it was structured training over a long period of time. I was very zeroed in on finding out what was not working. What was not working for me, and I hope this tip helps you all, is I was becoming very strong doing those long runs on the weekends, but I was running anywhere from 6:30 to 7-minute mile pace. I would go out and do 18 to 24 mile long runs, most of the time by myself, but they simply were conducted at too aerobic of an effort. So you have to monitor how you're setting up your training. The reason why I created those training plans and the running courses is I want the athletes that are trying to get to the next level in their training to be able to see what type of workout really needs to be done and how, at what paces, and more importantly, the rest in between those hard efforts that you're going to be doing. All of the benefits that, from the hard training you're doing today are going to be seen several weeks from now. So you have to have a short-term plan, but you also have to have a long-term plan in how you're setting up your training. Tempo runs, if you've done it in the past, if your tempo runs have been like 4 to 6 miles in length, you have to go longer than that. You have to spend a longer period of time training at your anaerobic threshold, because we as athletes, especially as longer races, the 10-mile distance, half marathon, 25K marathon distance, and ultras, it's a more of an aerobic event, but you also have to have that strength and stamina in order to sustain pace longer than your competition and slow down less than your competition. You also have to be paying attention, especially if you're trying to run a time this fast. You have to do what the best marathoners are doing. If you've ever watched the best marathoners on television or in your local area, they are drinking in the race. They're not sipping. A big mistake a lot of marathoners that are trying to go under 240 for the marathon are doing, as well as runners that are trying to break 5 hours, is they think they can go 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometers as if it were a 5K or a 10K, like just sipping a couple Dixie cups. You have to pay attention to the amount of fluid you're taking in and the amount of calories you're ingesting in that race. So put a couple gels in your shorts, one on your left side, one on your right side, and take the one that the race, whatever race you're going after, whatever marathon you're going for, they'll usually have a gel packet volunteers handing out gel packets right around mile 17 or 18, because we really at any given time only have around 1,700 to 1,800 calories of glycogen built up at any given time. And most of the time, most runners hit the so-called wall right around mile 17 or 18. So it's very, that's the reason why they hand that out. But again, if you're not drinking in the race, if you're not practicing that in your long runs in training, you're going to have a very difficult time running under 2 hours and 40 minutes. Because again, it's not just the physical training that we do, it's the hydration practices, it's nutrition, it's training mentally for your race over a long period of time. Your competition's not focusing on mental training, I promise you. The majority of athletes, neglect this. They always focus on the physical aspect of preparation. If you want to make it to the next level as a marathoner and get to this level, breaking 2 hours and 40 minutes, you have to pay attention to all the fundamentals that go into running a world-class time or a very, very tough national class time like a sub 240 marathon. So, you know, as I think back to all the years that I ran, I hope these tips help you. I think the tempo run, getting that tempo run eventually, starting off in your training phase right around 3 to 4 miles, and then as your body adapts, lengthening that tempo run out to around 10 to 14 miles in length. Okay, that's a long period of time training at the anaerobic threshold, the point lactic acid starts to build up in the bloodstream. So a mixture of training long periods of time at your anaerobic threshold, training once per week, and sometimes even twice per week, depending on how competitive the athlete, doing VO2 max workouts where you're training at close to or right at your maximum heart rate, running pretty much to exhaustion, where you have to take breaks, you know, speed training. That's an example of VO2 max workouts. Repeat 800s, repeat miles on the track with minimal rest. Might be 3 minutes rest at the early stages of your training when you're not as anaerobically fit, and then as you get into the middle stages of your training build up, you're going to be running at faster paces with less rest in between each one of those reps. So all these in combination, along with really focusing on all the other fundamentals, hydration, nutrition, proper sleep, mental training, spending 10 to 15 minutes each day rehearsing yourself, getting across that finish line with 2:39:59 on the clock, or whatever time you're going for. It's a mixture of all of these fundamentals that go into running a great marathon time, and not getting bent out of shape and losing enthusiasm in the middle stages of it. It's going to be very challenging. Like I said, the faster you're trying to run, the more tactical, more strategic, and more specific you have to be when it comes to your training. So I hope this video is helpful for you, Rudy, and anyone else that's going after a sub 240 marathon, or regardless of what time you're going for. I've run 2:19:35 myself for the distance. I understand the complexities of this event. So if you have any other questions, anything else I can help you all out with, whether it's a 240 marathon or running a 10K under 60 minutes or running a 10 miler under 70 minutes, whatever specific goal you have in mind, feel free to let me know in the comment section below what your current best is, regardless of what your marathon time is. I'd like to know what your goal is, short term and long term. Let me know in the comment section, so I will definitely reach back out to you. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so when I make a new video you'll be notified of it. And definitely check out the resources we have on RunDreamAchieve.com. We have a new merch store, so definitely check out the new t-shirts, cups, mugs, sweatshirts, yoga mats. We have just about everything there. So we continue to add additional items on there as well. So we have training plans, we have running courses, as well as monthly coaching if that's something that you're interested in as well. So I wish you all the best, Rudy. Get that sub 240 marathon, stay committed in this build up. Definitely, again, pay attention to your how your body's feeling. If you need to take a break, it doesn't, it's not gonna, you're not gonna lose any fitness taking one day off if need be. So listen to what your body's telling you, and to all of you, just maintain your tenacity, maintain your focus, and you're gonna get the result that you want. So I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you in the next video.